y'all, I am Morgan Udoh. I am the Associate Director of the Mural Arts and Placemaking Program, so I'm in charge of all of the art additions to the farm and around the 708, 805, 807, 802 areas as well. So all the mural program and any activations that we do at community events. So for my activations for community events, particularly the ones at the farm, we are doing eco art workshops. So anything that we make and any materials we use are recycled materials. So I have here some churned up paper pulp, which is just honestly like payroll and receipts and stuff that we shredded up real well. And then I have stained it with turmeric that we grew at the farm because we are growing pigments here to use as additives for paint and dyes. And so we're testing that out as a more sustainable method rather than the plastics. But in order to make sure that the microplastics don't go back into our water, I also have made our mural art program zero waste. So any of the paint that we use goes in one bucket, all of the brushes as well. Nothing goes in the trash. We reuse the brushes if we can. If they're too damaged, we use them for sculptures. And all of that paint sludge water goes into a filtration system to where I can reuse the water. So this was clear before I put these in. This is recycled paint water. And then all of the paint particles that get flocked to the bottom, we use as an additive for pavers, actually. So we've got some pavers in the back there, and that'll be one of our next workshops, is making pavers from the reclaimed acrylic. But anywho, back to the paper making. So I have different size decals here, which these are basically just wood frames, where in which you have a mesh, a fine mesh that's attached to it. It can be stapled on. You can make these yourselves, but I like buying the quick little kit because you get a variety of sizes as well. But recycled frames from Goodwill, throw some netting on there, boom, you've got some instant decals. And what you do is you take your paper products like these, and you do 1-to-1 ratio with water in a blender. I use one of those little like smoothie blender, so you don't need like a real fancy or high powered one. Just your regular little smoothie blender, turn it up. And you want a really like soft, mushy, almost like baby food pulp. This looks like baby food, doesn't it? And you can stain it. Now the purple ones, actually I had a bunch of old scrapbooking paper, and it tended to have that maroon and purple color, which is why this is such a deep purple. But you could use hibiscus to stain it as well, and this is stained with turmeric. So what you do is you just take out a little scoop of the pulp, and it really doesn't take much to make of material to make the paper. You kind of just let it float inside there, and this looks like there's not a lot in there, but once you add the decal in, you really just need a thin layer. So we place it in with the side where the mesh is sitting on top of the frame, because then that makes it easier for us to peel it off. And so we just sort of shift it in there like you're mining for gold. And it might take you a few tries. Sometimes it balances poorly on the back end and you've got a little too much. All right. And as the water soaks out, you've got your paper. You can let it dry and do it again if you want a thicker paper. But what happens after we let that dry for a little bit is we then lift up the decal, and we've got our paper right there. I mixed the two colors. You want to lay like a paper towel, just a real thin absorbent piece of cloth over it. Flip it over, and then you'll use a kitchen sponge with just a little dampness to it, and you will rub on the back side of the net to loosen it so that it sticks to your paper towel base. And really get it wet so that it peels off. There we go. And then you just sit this off to the side, sit it in the sun. And once it's dry, it's congealed together, and you can peel it off, and you can use the paper for cards. I actually started off as a polymer clay artist. I used to make polymer clay earrings, and so I would use these for my cards to put the earrings on, actually, and would stamp my information on the back. You can also include flower petals on top. You can add those additional elements. These make really great bases for like homemade cards for you know, birthdays or the holidays. You can also embed seeds in them. So when you give someone a card, when they're done and have enjoyed the gift, they can stuff it in the ground and they can grow some plants from it. So you've got a lot of options there. Any questions so far? Super easy process. Does anyone want to try it out?
I'll try.
Come on up. All right. I've got 4 of them here, so I can get three additional people up here. Let's get a line and we'll get you set up. If you want to add some of the extra pulp in there, you can if you just want to feel it.